Pack your things. You're not part of this family anymore, my mother said, throwing my suitcase onto the porch while relatives watched. My brother smirked. Dad never trusted you anyway. My name is Evelyn Carter, and I'm 34 years old. I grew up in a small town where family meant everything, or at least that's what I believed when I was younger. We didn't have much money, but my father always made me feel safe. I wasn't rich or glamorous. I worked as a nurse, doing long shifts, standing for hours, and coming home with aching feet. Still, I loved helping people. My father used to smile and say, "You have the biggest heart in this family." When he got sick, I moved back home without hesitation. I cooked for him, gave his medicine, and stayed awake at night when his pain kept him from sleeping. My mother and brother rarely helped. They visited only when they wanted to talk about the future and inheritance. I ignored it because I thought love mattered more than money. They called me weak and too emotional. I wasn't the favorite, but I had something they never saw. I had quiet strength. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, hit that subscribe button. I know how lonely that feels because I lived it every single day. Tell me in the comments if you ever gave your best and still felt ignored. Click hype and let's show the world that quiet strength always wins. After my father's funeral, the house felt empty. The sound of the clock ticking filled every room, louder than my own breathing. My mother barely looked at me. 1 week later, she called a family meeting. My brother stood beside her, holding papers and smiling like he had already won. "The house and everything belong to us now," she said. "You have no right to stay." I froze. I had given up my job and savings to care for Dad. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. My brother laughed. "Because Dad knew you were weak. He trusted me." My chest tightened. They accused me of stealing and lying. Relatives whispered while staring at me. My mother pointed at the door. "Leave before we call the police." She pushed me outside like I was nothing. I stood there shaking. My phone buzzed. The message read, "Evelyn, your father left something important. We need to talk." Soon after, my brother began spreading lies in town. People stopped greeting me, some even avoided eye contact. It hurt more than I expected. Then my mother sold my father's personal things without telling me. The watch he promised me was gone. When I confronted her, she said, "You don't deserve memories. You deserve nothing." Those words stayed in my head for weeks. The third betrayal came when they tried to block me from attending a memorial at my father's workplace. I went anyway. I stood in the back while my brother spoke. He took credit for caring for Dad. I stayed silent, but something inside me changed. I stopped crying in public. I began writing everything down. Dates, words, actions. I worked extra shifts. I saved every dollar. Slowly, the pain turned into determination. I wasn't weak anymore. I was preparing. What they didn't know was that my father and I had long talks during his final months. He often said he feared my brother's greed. One night, he held my hand and whispered, "Truth always wins, Evelyn." I remembered that every day. I had something they never imagined: evidence. I had recordings of my brother pressuring Dad and emails that showed manipulation. I even had documents proving their lies. I kept everything hidden. I waited. I learned my father had made a final legal statement after discovering the truth. I wasn't alone. I had a plan they never saw coming. I met Mr. Dawson, our old family lawyer. He had known my father for years and respected him deeply. When he saw the evidence, his face turned serious. "Your father trusted you the most," he said. He told me my father had requested a private legal review after his death. We worked together quietly. Meanwhile, my mother and brother became arrogant. They bought new things and showed off in public. They believed they had already won. One day, they invited me to the official will reading. I knew they wanted to humiliate me again. I accepted calmly. Inside, I felt cold and ready. In the lawyer's office, they sat confidently, smiling. My mother leaned close and whispered, "This will be your final embarrassment." I looked at her without fear. Mr. Dawson began reading new documents. He played recordings of my brother threatening Dad. The room fell silent. My brother's voice filled the air. My mother tried to stop it, but Mr. Dawson refused. Then he announced the truth. My father had changed his will. Everything was transferred to me. My brother shouted, but legal consequences were explained clearly. I stood and looked at them. "You thought kindness meant weakness," I said. For the first time, they had no power. I didn't celebrate. I chose peace. I restored my father's memory and supported the causes he loved. My mother and brother faced the consequences of their actions. People who believed their lies came to apologize. I forgave some, but not all. I built a new life, stronger, wiser. I learned that family is not about blood. It is about respect. The day they forced me out, I thought I lost everything. In truth, I gained freedom. If your family ever pushed you aside or tried to erase your place, you understand this pain. You are not alone, and your truth matters more than their lies. Share your story in the comments so others can find strength. Subscribe to join this community of healing and courage. Click hype to help the story reach others who need it. Your story has power. If you felt a connection to mine, please subscribe and share your journey in the comments. Every hype you give this video helps empower someone else. Thank you for being here and for listening. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments. If this story touched your heart, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories about resilience, dignity, and quiet justice. Because some lessons don't come with applause. They come with peace.